Hi Serena, it's August 8th, 2006. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday Serena, happy birthday to you. Your wife and your daughters are dead now. We're all in heaven, and you can sit there and you can be happy. You can be some Mr. Gigolo going around doing whatever the hell you want. All I wanted was to go home with my little girls and heal from what you did to me.
Hope you understand you've been charged with murder. You understand that both the children, Sophia and Serena, are both deceased.
Yes, this is a deplorable, horrible, messy, filthy apartment that supposedly my 2 children and I live in, and it's just a horrible, horrible mess. Yeah.
This tape you are currently watching was filmed by Elaine Campione. This was filmed on October 2nd, 2006, the same day Elaine drowned both of her daughters, Serena and Sophia, in the bathtub. Elaine addresses accusations made by Leonardo Campione in this video, along with accusing Leonardo of physical and mental abuse.
I think Diego Campione is totally in the wrong, and I hope he burns in hell for all his sins, the same as Leonardo. All I wanted to do was take care of my 2 little girls and live happily ever after the 3 years of physical, emotional, and mental abuse that I endured tremendously by Leonardo Campione, and then the past year from Anna and Diego Campione, the mental and emotional abuse, which wouldn't stop, and I had CAS keep bringing these 2 people into my life over and over again when I kept telling them the amount of mental and emotional abuse it was causing my 3-year-old daughter Serena and I and Sophia. It was horrible and uncalled for, and I want justice to my family for what they have all done to us. I cried out for help. They should have charged him for the assaults he did to me, the assaults he did to my oldest daughter Serena, and they did nothing for us. Instead, they gave him more and more rights. It's just unfair and cruel. And so many women go through this, and it's not fair. We should have been allowed to leave and go home and heal with my family, who, by the way, were foster parents, who have CS clearance, unlike his family, who are immigrants who lie and steal and do everything horrible and associate with very bad criminal people. My family doesn't. My family are all upstanding citizens. But yet, he and his family get all the rights. And my poor 3-year-old, I did everything to protect. And what are you saying, Sophia? What do you want? Please? Hey, Serena?
This is the last video of Serena, moments before the tragic murders.
Who loves ya? Mommy. Who loves you the most? That much? Oh, I think I love you more than that.
This next video Elaine filmed immediately after murdering Serena and Sophia. Elaine makes this video to Leonardo, stating that this is all his fault. This was shown in court and used to convict Elaine.
Recording this because Leo and there, are you happy? Everything is gone. You wouldn't give peace. You wouldn't tell the truth. I begged. You even had Stacy not believing me, telling her I had to sign papers when I didn't. I went to victim witness to get the truth, trying, begging everyone the truth. How you beat me for 3 years behind closed doors, beat me when I was pregnant with Serena and Sophia. You didn't care about our babies, you didn't care about me, you cared about yourself. All you did was hurt us. And you get Serena an idea that you could actually have my children. God believes me, and God's taking care of them now. You're protected by God, thank God. I thank Him. Because there's no way I could have them with you. You're a hideous monster. The things you used to do to me. I still have horrific nightmares all the time because of you. You're an evil, horrible man. I begged the courts to let me go home where I could be protected by my family. I went through lawyers fighting. This last lawyer, even with all the papers I showed, telling her, look, you know, he's lying. There's nothing wrong with me mentally. There isn't.
Elaine is talking about the accusations of poor mental health. She had spent time in psychiatric wards and had attempted suicide. She also had delusions of people trying to kill and steal Serena and Sophia. Elaine even claimed she saw aliens. The strangest of the accusations were that Serena was not allowed to touch anything that was the color red.
I'm scared of you. I'm scared of everything, of your family. Everything you've told me over the years is the truth. And I'm just going to God, because God is the only one who cares and can protect me. Because you are the devil, Leo. You are the psychotic devil. And I should have stayed away from you the first time you beat me when I first met you, when I was, 21, 22. I should have ran away from you far then. At least the girls and I will be together in heaven, protected and safe from you.
Elaine's plan was to commit suicide after this video was made. Her attempt failed.
You can't hurt us, you can't torture us, you can't bother me anymore, you can't sit there and control me. You have me locked into a county where I have no friends, no family. You got it so I couldn't even go see my own parents. Where I need to be with my family, the people who truly love me and have always been there for me. Take my children to be in a nurturing place. Look at the photographs, Leo. My kids were happy. They were happy with me. I was a great mom. I did everything with these kids. I took them to playgroups. I took them everywhere. I did tons of crafts with them. Sang songs with them all the time. Did everything. Everything that CS told me to do. And I begged and begged and begged everyone to help me get out of this province away from you, because you and your family are psychotic. And all you guys did was torture me. Anne is sitting there telling me if I didn't give my kids to you, if I won't go back to you, to give the kids to you, that you guys could give them so much more. Anna abused you. Diego abused you as a child, and you know it, Leo, because look at you. Look deep down in you. You know what happened to you as a child. My parents never hit me. They never hurt me. They were always supportive. They were always loving to me. And I miss them terribly, terribly. And I wanted my babies to be with a loving family. And you denied that. You denied everything. And you got away from everything. You get away from your criminal for all the things you did to me. You get away from it in family court. I'd show up in court and you would never show up. You'd never get in trouble. You were constantly lying, 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 lying. Now you deal with it. You deal with it for the rest of your life. You look in the mirror and you look at yourself and say, if only you had told the truth. All I wanted you to do is tell the truth. Tell them, tell everyone what you did to me. What you did to me every day. What did you do? What, my Serena, you know, your own little flesh and blood daughter, she might sit there and say, love you. You know what it was like? She would wake up in the night and tell me, Daddy hits you, Daddy hurts you. And I kept telling her it was just a bad dream. She remembered everything, Leo, everything that you used to do to me. She remembered. What kind of life was that for her? She was 3 and she remembered every little thing you ever did to me.
The second half of this video was filmed the next day after her failed suicide attempt.
They're getting ready to open their newest location coming soon to Huntsville. So that means the remodeling time at their Aurelia and Braintree stores. They are changing the displays. Now is the time to make a great deal on an Ontario-made hydro-cooled hot tub. In stock models, floor models, or custom orders, everything has a sale price. Pool Spa Sauna Showroom, making waves in Aurelia, Bracebridge, and soon to be in Huntsville. You can also check them out on the web at poolspasaunashowroom.com.
I'm here to throw some light on conserving energy. First, let's coordinate. These are seasonal LED lights. They use 98% less electricity than traditional lights. and waxed up to 100 times
I'm
longer.
not meant to
Including
be out,
sparkle on the
but I
top
don't
of
care what.
and still lots of chances to qualify.
And I don't get it.
Next
I
year,
really
slot
don't.
casting prices around 10, 20
I'll
after
day
miracles and
die that I
cheese
don't
football
know.
bacon, pumpkin pies, pumpkin spice rolls, pumpkin cheesecake
I don't want
muffins,
freedom
cranberry
from
rolls,
you.
cranberry walnut bread,
My
and
children,
more.
they
You've
have
been
finally
getting
had
the miracles
freedom
of
from
marketing
you.
downtown Aurelia
That
will
my
be
little
open all
girl
weekend long, including
isn't
holiday
coming
Mondays
to
from
me
April
crying
5th.
anymore,
Medical books in
confused
downtown
out of her
Aurelia reminds you
mind
that October 5th
of
is
what
World
her
Teachers
daddy
Day.
said,
A
mommy
day
said.
when we can acknowledge the vital contributions that teachers make to education and
She-
development. In their daily work, teachers help mold our future leaders by encouraging the students'
That
desire
girl
to learn.
loved me.
To all teachers, we
She
say,
loved me so much.
a message from Magic or
And I
Books,
portrayed
the
her.
official bookstore for the
I
Aurelia
portrayed
Lakehead University campus.
Protect her
They
as
welcome all
much
Lakehead students
and
and
much
teachers
and
to the
much as
Sunshine City.
possible.
Trailers come in all shapes and sizes, and that's why we keep
You
4x8,
could
5x8,
not
and
let it
5x10
go,
trailers
Leo.
in stock at the
Why?
Rocky Island Tire Company. My name is
Why
Brady
could
Smith.
you not
Come see me
let
today
us
at State
go?
Road and Highway 11 or call me at
And the
645-8000.
government protects you.
Feast of Fall,
They didn't
once again
protect
with kids.
us.
Enjoy them.
Showers and thunderstorms ending by tomorrow
I don't
afternoon.
even know what to
Tomorrow's
say to
18.
you.
It's 13 degrees. I'm Heather Thompson. Jack at
I just wish you had left us completely and totally alone.
On October 4th, 2006, Elaine calmly called the police, telling them her children were dead. Serena and Sophia were found dressed in their pajamas, holding hands and lying in their mother's bed, with a rosary album between them. She had killed them 2 days prior. Police noted that the air already smelled of decomposing bodies. She had drowned her daughters in the bathtub to prevent Leonardo from getting custody.
One of the things, and I understand here that you've gone through a lot in your life here, and it sounds like to me your whole world came crashing down. And it doesn't sound like you've got a lot of support. And you know what, truly, I don't understand how anyone in your situation could be able to do that on your own. I really don't. Only you know what was going on inside yourself.
The investigator in this moment is building rapport. By openly empathizing with Elaine, the respect he gives her will make her more willing to cooperate.
And when this
They were
happened,
my babies.
they're your babies, I know.
Serena was playing in the living room, coloring, doing sign language.
Mhm.
Sophia was having a bath. We were videotaping.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was fine. Listening to music, same as we always do.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's different. They go to bed between 7, 8 o'clock at night every night.
Mm-hmm.
I kept them in a routine to keep them stable
Mhm.
because of the chaoticness of having to have a babysitter in a day or babysitter at night because he's dragging me into court for this and that. Meanwhile, my daughters are bawling their eyes out because they don't want me to be away from them.
I know you love them. I can tell that. I can see that in your eyes. I don't know, but I'm trying to understand what happened last night, and only you can tell me that.
I don't understand. And I don't understand and I don't. And the next thing I know is I got people at my house.
Mm-hmm.
A guy with a blue outfit with orange on it in my bedroom. As a police officer telling me something about charges. I'm asking where my daughters are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just looking at me, telling me they need to put handcuffs on me. I need to get on a stretcher, and I'm still asking them where my daughters are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all.
Do you remember making the call? There was a phone call you made this morning.
No. That's the thing. The next thing I know is there's people at my door.
Okay. And I'm just going to back up. So what happened last night?
Sophia was having a bath. I was videotaping her for my mother, singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, because that's her favorite song. She sings it every night for my mom.
Right.
And I was doing that, and she would start to do back floats, and she got a little bit of water in her ear, so I stopped the videotape because she panicked, and then I picked her up, and then that was it. Then I went over to see Serena because she was coloring, asking her to clean up her coloring. She's got to get ready for bed, pick up her pajamas, and that's all. And the next thing I remember is these people are in my house.
Okay. You talked about they were in the bath.
Sophia was in the bath.
Sophia was in the bath. What about Serena? Did you ever put Serena in the bathtub?
Serena's always in the bathtub with Serena, but she wasn't in the bathtub with Sophia. She was busy coloring and cleaning up her mess and picking out pajamas.
And then why were you videotaping?
To send to my mother,
Okay.
her singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Okay. And had you done any of this videotaping prior to last night?
There's just videotapes, little bits of here and there. There should be birthday tapes. There should be other tapes of the two of them in the tub together. There's lots of different kinds of little bits of tapes on the video camera.
Okay. At what point did you put the videotape away?
After I went to go give Serena her bath, and she was saying she was going to get ready for bath, I put the video camera in the living room.
Okay. All right. Now with all this pressure balling up, and you were making a videotape for your mother, any point did you do anything in the bathroom?
I remember we sing songs. We usually sing ABCs. We usually sing the 5 Little Duckies. It's like the usual routine that we always take.
Okay.
That's all I remember. So I sing the same songs. We sing, Joy, Joy to the World, all the songs that they love. It's the same songs I sing over and over and over again.
Where do you think your children are now?
I assume my husband has them.
Hope you understand you've been charged with murder. You understand that both the children, Sophia and Serena, are both deceased. She was trying to float in the...
She's trying to float backwards, and then she got water in her ear and panicked, and then showing the tape, I stopped because I went to pick her up to pull her out and kept telling her it was okay because she was trying to show she could float on her back. And then I stopped.
Okay, why did you stop?
Because I wanted to pick her up because she panics when she gets on her back.
Did her head go under the water?
Her ear. And she doesn't like water in her ears.
Okay. Now, at any point during that, did you push her under the water?
No,
You sure, Elaine?
I'm sure. These are my babies. I've been taking them to swimming lessons. I'm trying to teach them not to be scared of the water.
But you took this medication, right?
Yes.
And you said you wanted to end your life. You wanted to end it all.
I wouldn't kill my babies. My babies are my life.
I understand that.
It's one thing if I don't want to live, but but these are my babies. My parents could have took them.
Did you take your medication before, the bottle of medication before or after? After the baths?
In between the baths, I
In
think.
between?
I'm pretty sure in between.
So when you say in between, they were in their bath, taking their baths, and then you took the medication?
Yeah, because Serena was in her bedroom I had the brittle water, and Serena was getting the pink, the purple flowery princess dress, and asking me if she could wear it for bed. I would never. These are my babies.
You know, I think, like we discussed before, and I think, you know, this is just a lot of pressure. Something happened in there, Elaine, and only you can tell me. There was no one else inside that apartment. You're the only person that was there. And I know you love them. I know that. Tell me about the photo album.
Which one?
You got a couple photo albums there.
A lot of photos.
I haven't looked through them.
One is from our summer vacation. It's a scrapbook the girls and I put together. Just showing all the different stuff we did together in the summer. One is Serena's 3rd birthday. She had a princess birthday party.
Yeah.
There's a pink one, which is Sophia's baby one. And then there's another one, which is Serena's baby one. And in the closets is my wedding photos or honeymoon photos, which allow Serena to look at when she wants to see her father. She's allowed to go and look at those pictures. But she's supposed to keep them in their room.
Where were the photo albums?
Which photo albums?
Those photo albums that you talked about.
The scrapbook one would have been in Serena's room. She keeps it in her room.
Okay.
She carries it wherever. Sometimes it's under the bed, sometimes it's on the bed.
She carries it with her?
Yeah. She takes it wherever she goes and shows it to the babysitter, shows it to anybody who comes in the house. And the wedding photo album should all be in the playroom closet, because I try to keep them covered.
And where did the kids sleep last night?
They slept in my bed.
So tell me about that. What happened there is...
I came to bed around 9, 10 o'clock at night. Went to curl up with Sophia. I was going to bring in a bottle for her because it's usually her feeding time, and she was cold. And the fan, I leave a fan running. So I pulled up the covers on both of them. And I cuddle up both of them, and usually they turn and cuddle in with me. They weren't cuddling in with me. And Sophia had weird colored lips. And that's when I thought there was something wrong, and I looked at Serena, and she was looking weird too.
And what happened then?
And I assume that's when I called. I didn't know after. That's all I can remember is going in to cuddle in with them to get ready to go to sleep. And they weren't moving. They were just laying there. And usually they turn to me. And Sophia usually wraps her arm around this arm, and Serena reaches over both of us to cuddle in with both of us. And they should have had their blankies. They should have had Barney and Kitty Cat and Sheep, because they all sleep with us. So I don't know if they were all there, but that's who sleeps with all of us in the bed.
Yeah, all of them were there. Okay. They were all there. All right.
She should have rolled over. She didn't. Her upper of her lip was all this weird color.
What was that from?
I don't know. She just had a weird lip color.
Mm-hmm.
The coloration on Serena is the same color as the anti-slip bath mat that lays on the bottom of the tub. Elaine told both of her daughters that they should play an underwater bubble blowing game. When Serena and Sophia went underwater, Elaine held both of them down until they drowned. Serena's upper lip was stained from the bath mat.
And their bruises. Sophia has a bruise from the YMCA from last week when Serena went swimming and she hit the corner of all the cement thing, and it was really dark and it had been fading. And Serena's bruise was from when she tripped on the sidewalk, and there was 10 other witnesses who saw that, and it was really dark. They were fading, and all of a sudden they were all dark. And they looked pale. They looked sick.
And is that point, did you call or did you call later?
I think I called then. I don't know. This part is all blurry. I don't know. All I remember is trying to figure out why they weren't calling. I was shaking them and asking them to wake up, and usually they'll wake up for me. I called Sophia if she wanted her bobo, and she wasn't moving for me. And she always wants her bobo.
What's her bobo?
Her bottle.
Oh, her bottle.
Or she calls it bottle. And she wasn't calling for it. She wasn't asking for it. She was just laying there.
She loves her bottle.
Since I stopped breastfeeding, she's clung to her bottle now because I don't breastfeed.
Let's go back. You kind of stopped right at the baths. And you mentioned when they were getting ready for their baths. What happens from that point on?
Sophia she wanted her bath. She went, picked out her pajamas, got her diaper, put it on the sink. Serena's still in the living room doing whatever. I was running the bath water. Went outside again to ask Serena if she's going to take a bath or not. She said she wasn't going to, so I had to go back and turn off the bath water before, it overflowed. And then Sophia was getting all undressed, ready to get in the tub. And then asked her if she wanted to take pictures for her Grammy, and she said yeah. She wanted to sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So then she went to lay backwards, and water got inside of her ear, and she started to panic. So I stopped and held her and picked her up, told her it was okay. And then I stopped there, ran back over to see what Serena's doing because I could hear her pulling stuff out of the cupboards, and asked her if she was going to clean up her mess. And then she was doing sign language, I love you, and telling me, who do you love? I love Mommy. And how much do you love her? I love her to the moon and back. And then I said, are you ready to take a bath? And she said yes. And then I shut off the video camera, and then she came running in to get her pajamas.
What about Sophia?
Sophia was still sitting in the tub.
In the tub?
Yes. It's only about this deep.
It was only about...
I only allow her to have about this deep of water.
Well, how deep is that? How many inches would that be?
About this deep. I only allow her to have it that deep.
What would you call that?
I don't know how in inches color like this deep.
A bit like...
Cupful. Because she's little. When Serena's in the tub, I let it fill up quite a bit because she likes the splash.
They said it was almost overflowing.
Well, she said she was gonna overflow. Like if I left it going, it was gonna keep on going. So I stopped the water from flowing. And there's this plug to unplug it.
And how deep was it at that point?
Probably about that deep. So it would have been over what she should have been allowed to have.
Okay. And she was having, you mentioned that she put her head back, but
Yeah,
the water was...
The water got into this side of the ear, and she got all upset. So then I stopped the water, stopped the filming. Because she's learning to lay back floats in her swimming lessons. I'm supposed to encourage her to do layback floats.
But you can't float in that much water, like
Well,
4 inches.
yeah, but for her to even lay backwards is a big deal for her because she doesn't like to get her hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do front floats where she sticks her mouth in the water and blows bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
Usually she'll do better if Serena's in the tub and Serena will do it, then Sophia will copy her.
Mm-hmm. So we're both in the tub together?
No, Serena was in her own tub.
In her own tub?
She went in her own tub like after,
Okay.
waiting for Sophia to get out of her tub. And she was running all around, so I was chasing Serena to get her to come back to go in the tub, and she was picking out all these different pajamas she wanted.
Serena was?
Yes.
Okay. So after Sophia finishes her bath, what do you do with Sophia?
Sophia usually sits in the bathroom, waits.
Sits in the bathroom and waits?
Yes.
Well, what did she do?
She
mostly?
she usually just lays there and drinks her bobo. She has a bobo.
Mhm.
While Serena's in the tub, sometimes she tries to crawl in the tub with her again.
Mhm.
Or she has a pee in the potty.
What'd she do on this evening?
She just laid there and she had her bobo, but she didn't even drink her bobo.
So when you say laid there, where was she laying?
In front of the tub, I had a towel put out. She just
Mhm.
laid there and I was drying her off and she wouldn't take her bobo.
She
And
wouldn't take her bobo
no,
then?
usually she takes her bobo and drinks it. She was just laying there.
Mhm.
She was tired from the day.
Mhm.
She hadn't had a nap.
Was she asleep at that point?
She looked like she was about to fall asleep.
Okay.
So I just got her dressed and gave her her bobo and laid her down in her bed for like maybe 10-15 minutes while I did Serena. And then I put them into my bed.
Okay, so you gave Serena her bobo afterwards?
Sophia.
Sorry,
Sophia, her bobo, but she didn't even drink it, which is unusual for her. Usually she drinks the I think it's 8-ounce bottle of
Okay.
bobo, and she didn't. She looked like she was ready to just zonk out. She just zonked out.
All right. And that was, so you picked her up?
Picked her up. I had put her diaper on,
Mhm.
put her pajamas on, picked her up, tried to somewhat dry her hair, put her in her baby bed. She stayed there for maybe 10-15 minutes with her bobo while Serena went in the tub and did her tub.
Okay.
And she played in there for like a half an hour doing her own thing.
Mm-hmm. And then what happened then with Serena? Did you take any videotape of her?
No,
No? Why is that?
she didn't ask for it. I was just doing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star for my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Serena sometimes doesn't like to have her tape, so I don't bother her. She had her videotaping doing I Love You. She has, she's 3, so she tells you whether or not you can tape her or not.
Mm-hmm. Serena didn't want to be videotaped?
No.
Okay. All right. So what happens when she's finished her bath?
She gets out of the tub and I dried her off.
Mhm.
They both had naps. She looked like she was really, really tired.
Mm-hmm.
She gets bags underneath her eyes just like me.
Mhm.
I asked her if she wanted to brush her teeth. She was just like, nah. So I just got her in her pajamas and put her into bed.
Mm-hmm. Did she have anything out of her sippy cup then?
No, she didn't want her cup. Usually she has water after bath time because or she has this bad tooth here, a rotten tooth.
Mm-hmm.
So she's supposed to drink water.
Mm-hmm.
And I just laid them both in their beds.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went out to the living room, was cleaning up everything, came back, their bedding wasn't off. I pulled the bedding back up,
Mm-hmm.
went back outside, was doing stuff, and then when I was getting tired I had took a bunch of pills, I was getting really, really tired.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back. And then neither one of them wanted, she didn't want a bottle, Serena didn't want a cup. Neither one of them would turn
take it.
over.
Okay.
They wouldn't turn to me, which they always do. They always roll over
Mm-hmm.
and fight over who gets to sleep beside me.
Mm-hmm.
And Sophia was just laying there and her arm was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I opened the blanket, and her feet were like a pinkish, odd. It wasn't her normal foot color. And then I checked Serena. Serena's feet looked normal, but up on her leg here was a purpley color.
But the only one person can tell us what happened last night. How did they die?
I'm not allowed to speak without an attorney present. That's what I have to say. I cannot speak without an attorney present.
Did you kill both of them?
I cannot speak without an attorney present.
Now, when we do the autopsy, what are we going to find? Are we going to find water in the lungs?
I'm not allowed to answer anything without an attorney.
Okay. And I can understand, one of the things that I wanted to make sure is that they did die peacefully? Peacefully? Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you telling me that, because that makes me feel good as a parent and as a person too, that, here we've been talking for a little while here, and when I leave this room, I want to be able to say that you're not this monster, and that it was all this that was on your shoulders. And it's my job to go out and explain.
My children had no idea what happened.
Okay.
And if the day comes, I don't even know what I will say to them when I see them again. Because they knew nothing.
They knew nothing.
They trusted me more than
Did they trust that what you were doing was the right thing?
and only they can answer that.
Yeah. How do you feel? Do you feel you're doing the right thing?
I would have liked to take them somewhere safe. Now I have to answer to God.
No, you do, yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is a tough thing. I mean, I don't know what would be worse as the parent, because here you are now, and your babies aren't with you.
And they were easy pregnancies. I had 2 C-sections. Serena almost died. Sophia almost died the first month she was born. She had to fight for her life. They were strong little girls. And I raised them to be strong little girls.
Okay, so do you understand everything that's happened here today? I mean, you understand that?
Yes, I'm being charged.
Yeah, and you understand it's 2 counts of first-degree murder for both your children. You understand that? Okay. And this, I went back and I talked about the autopsy there, and that's going to be conducted probably tomorrow.
Just as long as they can have an open casket where their faces aren't chopped up or anything, please.
Well, one of the things they have to go through and determine whether in fact this was a drowning death. And there's...
They don't cut up their faces?
No, they don't. But there may be other tests that they have to ensure. The only other reason that they might have to look at the face, that there might be other marks, is whether there was anything to do with strangulation or anything like that. Is there anything to do with that, strangulation?
I didn't choke my children.
You didn't choke your children? Okay. And I know you talked about when they're taking the baths, and there's no doubt in my mind. I know that you're responsible for their deaths, But one of the things is, you know, you mentioned about how your child was in the bath, and I believe it was Sophia went first, and you talked about how she panicked. Well, the reason that she's panicking is you're holding her down under the water.
It wasn't. It shows right in the videotape. She was trying to show she could float backwards, and then this ear got in the water, and she's scared of water getting in her ear. And it shows me grabbing her with my hand and pulling her up, telling her it's okay, and then I shut off the video camera and took her out of the water because she's learning to float.
Isn't it true after you shut off the video that you pushed her down under the water?
I cannot.
Isn't that what it's going to show, that water's in her lungs? And isn't that the same thing it's going to show in the other child, in Serena? There's going to be water in the lungs because you push those children underneath the water. Isn't that what happened? You pushed them under the water. They couldn't breathe. They're looking up at you. They're saying, please help me, Mommy. And all you can see is their eyes open. And they're looking and saying, what are you doing, Mommy? They can't breathe. And all you see is air bubbles. And you hold them down long enough that they cannot breathe. And they're thinking, what are you doing, Mommy? Mommy, we love you.
Up to this point, being patient and respectful with Elaine hasn't worked. The interrogator is trying to invoke a guilt response from Elaine in hopes she will openly admit to her involvement in the deaths.
And now, you know, hopefully they're in a better place, but they're without their mom. But that vision that goes through your head, looking at your children, having to push them down under the water where they take in water and they can't breathe. Isn't that what happened? Because all the pressure's on your shoulders, everything else, you thought they'd be in a better place if you were dead yourself, and now your children and all three of you can be united together in heaven. Isn't that what happened?
I'm not allowed to speak without a legal advocate.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to tell me?
I just want to make sure that they know the bruises were there beforehand. I have witnesses that can prove that those bruises on their heads were not.
You're not responsible for the bruises, the drowning you are?
I cannot speak until I have a legal advocate, but I will speak upon those bruises because they are witnesses, adult witnesses, who can verify those bruises were there beforehand.
But you won't talk about the drowning?
No, not without a legal advocate.
Elaine was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. It would be 4 years before she went on trial. The tapes you saw earlier was shown in court. The defense alleged that Elaine was mentally ill, and the prosecution agreed, but they disagreed on her criminal responsibility. The defense claimed that her mental disorder rendered her incapable of knowing what was morally right or wrong. The prosecution argued that despite her illness, she was aware of what she was doing. The trial lasted for 7 weeks. The jury found Elaine guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder, which carries a life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years.